Hello everyone, my name is Łukasz and I would like to present you NetverestTools. Those amazing free tools will highly increase your productivity, even up to 600%, by allowing to extremely quick and easy query your database. It also gives you unparalleled search and insight capabilities for your database. Moreover, all of this is possible directly from Visual Studio, so you don't need to switch to Management Studio. If you want to increase your productivity, then NetverestTools are exactly for you. All of this and much more is available in those tools, and I will try to show as many of them as possible by presenting few use cases. I would like to start with use case, which will be simultaneously performed in NetverestTools and Management Studio for comparison. Let's assume that you are working on something in Visual Studio and your colleague asks you for a favor. He wants to change status of his today's order with specific name because he accidentally removed it. First, we need to open Management Studio. It can take a few moments. However, smart Łukasz, who is using NetverestTools, is already analyzing the problem. There are two ways of achieving this task. First one allows you to query order table directly from code editor. However, you need to put cursor on type order or variable of this type. Luckily, we have property of this type in front of us. Then, in context menu, you will see select option, or you can use shortcut, which is much faster and gives better user experience. There are a few interesting things on this view. First of all, we already see 50 orders. We also see that there are over 60,000 records in this table, which by the way were created by data generator in less than 1 minute. Both queries for select and count were performed by one shortcut. How often do you write simple select just to change it later for a count? I've done it countless times. Next to count value, you can see different environments, which allows to easily by using only one click check if data on other environment like production or development is the same, because data inconsistency might be the reason of bug or error. It is often the case if you work with application maintenance. Another thing is that table name is completely different than class name in Entity Framework. This is often the case if you work with very old database, and for me it was the reason why I have started to work on those tools. Because I have spent too much time writing queries for tables with different class name. Because if you are using Management Studio and you don't remember the name of the table, you need to come back to Visual Studio, find Entity Framework mapping, then switch again to Management Studio to start writing query. It is time consuming and really annoying. Let's come back to our example. We also remember from our experience that status is saved in order items table, so we quickly join to this table from related tables section. Now it's time to reduce number of records by providing where conditions. We know that order is from today, but there are 55 columns, so which one you should choose? We can filter them by type and see only date-time columns. After this, it is really easy to choose the right one, so I click on filter and use one of predefined conditions. There are less records, however, I'm still not sure which one should be fixed, so I filter by order name and execute. As you saw, filtering is super easy. Just type exclamation mark for is not null or two numbers for range. There are many other shortcuts which are described in tooltip of filters. You should try them. When it comes to sorting, it is even easier. Just click on column header. Let's come back to our use case. We have found our order. Next step is to update status. So we look for status column and double click on it. We can see that this column has blue line in header. It means this column is mapped to enum in Entity Framework. Normally in Management Studio it will be only a magic number, for which you need to find enum in Visual Studio to decrypt what it means. In this case you don't have to do it. Moreover, if you click on this value, you will see all available enum values. We need to change status to active, so I press 1 and update script for this record has been created. The last step is to execute this script and we are done. As you can see, you don't have to copy primary key value into where condition of update script. It saves even more time if your table has more than one primary key. Besides of explaining a lot of things and working slower, we are still much faster than regular Łukasz, who is working with Management Studio as in old days. It is also worth mentioning that when you write your queries, it is very easy to create typo. Then you need to move back to this place, correct it, and it takes time. Next feature is just a show-off. You can click on foreign key icon in column header to join tables and execute query in one click. Moreover, you will be automatically navigated to joined columns. Have you ever created table joins faster? Second way of achieving this task is to use another shortcut, which for me is one of the most often used shortcuts in NetverestTools. It opens Database Info view, which allows to search for table by its name or class name. In our case, it is amazing because order class is mapped to a completely different table. At this point, we need to click select or hit enter to open select view for the first row. We will be moved to the same view where we started the first approach. Rest of operations will be the same. Database info view has much more features and most of them will be covered later in this video, so stay with us. Next use case is related to reporting. Let's assume that someone asks you for two reports. First one should show number of ordered products. To do this, we'll use a feature called extended grouping. By pressing Shift-Alt and clicking on foreign key column header, we will group by this column, but additionally, we will join to our product table and get product name because ID is not always enough. Moreover, those products are sorted descending by number of occurrences, and this is the order we are expecting most of the time. As you can see, we were able to create pretty complicated query in a few clicks. Ask yourself how much time it would take in Management Studio. The second report should show data about orders in specific years. To do this, we'll again use the same feature but on the date-time column. We need to press Shift key and click on Group by checkbox. We will see a list of possible groups. Right now, we are interested in grouping by year, so we click it and that's it. We have results per year in descending order. We can also do the same for weekdays, and we will know that the most of the orders are created on Wednesday. This is extremely easy and you don't have to remember SQL syntax. Now, I would like to present few other features. Let's assume that we have very old code and database query is hard-coded. As you can see, this object is probably a database view. We can right-click on it, and besides previously shown options, we can also check definition of it. Without opening Management Studio, it works the same for procedures. From this point, we can also query this view the same way we have done it before for tables. However, views don't have foreign keys, so we can't join to other tables to get additional information as we were able to do previously. But thankfully to Missing Foreign Key Analyzer, which analyzes existing foreign keys, table names, column names, and much more, we can see hints with possible join conditions and use them to extend our query. If your tables for any reason are missing foreign keys, you can use the same mechanism to recreate them. Next scenario don't have a lot of code but shows many useful features. Let's assume for demo purposes that we are using MVC pattern and WCF. We want to debug change status method, so we put there a breakpoint. First line is performing validation, but we are not sure which role is needed, so we put cursor on role and press shortcut to query results. Now we know that admin is needed, so we change it, just to check if the rest of the code is okay. As you saw, it was extremely easy to check name of that role. Let's come back to our example, because I would like to show you one of my favorite features. In the next line, we are calling WCF method which should change status of our order, but we don't want to debug it right now, because method is very complex. Instead, we will execute command select where primary key on our variable and we will get query results with where condition on primary key with ID from this variable. Next, we press tab over this method and execute query again. We can see that everything works fine because status has been updated. But if something went wrong, you can update this value directly in query results to previous value, then move current debugging context to beginning of method and execute it again. All of this was done without leaving Visual Studio. It cannot be easier. All of this worked because of another feature called convention matches. Because as you can see, order item view model is DTO class used only by controller and not mapped to table by entity framework. However, proper configuration of convention matches allow this class to represent order item class used by entity framework on the other end of WCF service. In general, code editor analyzers allows you to query table from any variable, property, class, or even list, as long as underlying type is mapped by entity framework or is matching convention. As the last example, I would like to come back to database info view, which gives you amazing search and insight capabilities. To open it, we need to press most often used shortcut, and by default we will see all tables and views in our database. It is also a great tool if you are new in the project, because you can see which tables have the biggest number of rows, columns, foreign keys, indexes, triggers, etc., so you can pay more attention to them. It is even easier to check which indexes are missing according to Management Studio. We can also change filtering in our search to show all database objects. Then in footer we will find summary of our database showing total number of tables, views, procedures, and so on. Another filtering option is not mapped. If you deselect this option, you will see only tables from your entity framework context instead of all database tables. This might be very helpful when you work with bounded context or small background service. Next filtering option allows to search by definition. It means that all procedures and views definitions will be also analyzed for search term. and thanks to definition view, we can easily see object definition with found text. One of the last features on this view are favorites, which allows to save different queries, so then you can choose them much faster or even execute using shortcuts. Last feature which I would like to mention is delete button, which by one click generates a delete script for selected and all dependent tables. No more wondering which tables has to be removed before selected table, because of foreign key constraints. That's all in this demo. However, it was only a small part of all available features and use cases. All of them, like to-do extension, find-in solution, or data generator integration and more, can be found with descriptions on our page netverest.com. Next step is to install this extension and explore it further. I believe there will be even more useful scenarios. And remember, those tools are free, but it would be really nice if you could support us by buying premium version, which costs only €9. It will allow us to create new features, and we have a lot of ideas. Thank you for watching, and I hope those tools will be very useful for you. Enjoy coding!